Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dears. Today we will be discussing a new topic in the field of pragmatics, the cooperative principle. In this discussion, we will be focusing on the concept and definition of cooperative principle. Then we will be explaining what are different conversational maxims with the help of examples. So let's start with our lecture. Cooperation can be understood as an essential factor when speakers and listeners are interacting. In other words, it is the expectations that the listener has towards the speaker. The speaker is supposed to convey true statements and say nothing more than what is required. Now, in any communication conversation between two individuals, the speaker cooperate and the listener cooperate. The speaker cooperate with the listener in terms of transferring true information, relevant information, and reliable information, which the listeners expect. The idea that people cooperate with each other in conversing is generalized by Greece 1975. The speaker is cooperative and intends to communicate some information. If that information is more than what the words mean, it leads to implicature, and implicature we will discuss in our other lecture. There is a set of guidelines for effective and rational use of language, and that is the use of language according to cooperative principles. According to Georgiou, make your conversational contribution such as is required. Do not say which is not required. At the stage at which it occurs, by the accepted purpose or direction of the talk exchange in which you are engaged. In other words, the listener presumes that the speaker is being cooperative and is speaking truthfully, informatively, relevantly, exactly, and appropriate. We have four conversational or cooperative maxims: the maxim of quality, the maxim of quantity, the maxim of manner, and the maxim of relation. So first, let's discuss the maxim of quality. Try to make your contribution one that is true. Do not say what you believe to be false. Do not say that for which you lack evidence. Say what you believe to be true. Now this is very important. If it is your personal opinion, say, in my view. It is my personal opinion. If you have borrowed it from someone, mention the name, the source. Do not say if you do not believe it is true. This is the maxim of quality. The second one is the maxim of quantity. Make your conversational contribution as informative as required for the current purpose of exchange. Do not make your conversational contribution more informative than is required. If someone asks you where is Peshawar University, just tell him the directions. Just show him the directions. Do not add additional irrelevant information. You are violating the maxim of quantity if you are saying which is not required. The maxim of relation. Be relevant to the topic. Do not make digressions. If he is asking about the door, say things about the door. Do not say things about the window. The maxim of manner, the fourth one. Avoid obscurity of expression. Do not be ambiguous. Be brief, be orderly, and be clear. It means your language must be very much simple and clear and understandable by them. So these are four principles. Look at this example. If the husband asks what are the car keys and the wife says they are on the table in the hall. Now look, the wife has answered clearly. So she is following the maxim of manner. Truthfully, so she is following the maxim of quality and has given just the right amount of information. She has not added any additional information. So she is also following the maxim of quantity and has directly addressed her husband's goal in asking the question. So she is very much relevant, following the maxim of relation. She has said precisely what she meant, no more and no less. Now, breaking the maxims. The conversational maxims are broken rather more often than linguistic rules. It is not a grammar. It is not grammar rules. These are norms of communication conversations, and they are broken very often, very oftenly by this. We can break the conversational maxim in two ways. The first one is we can violate them. Violating the maxim means that we break the maxims covertly so that other people do not know that we have violated quality or quantity or manner or any other maxim. If we violate the maxim of quality, simply we lie. If we violate the maxim of quantity by not giving enough information, for example, if someone finds out, we can be accused of being economical with the truth. We are not explaining the whole truth but partial truth. So it is a kind of deceit. It is violating a maxim. If you like, violating the maxim amounts to breaking them illegally, just as people who steal are guilty of laws concerning theft. As with laws, some maxim violations can be more heinous than others. Lying in the court of law is disapproved, but white lies, small lies to keep the social peace, and are often thought as floating the maxim. We can also float them. If we float a maxim, we break it in a flagrant and often foregrounded way so that it is obvious to all the listeners concerned that it has been broken. It is not something hidden like violation. If this happens, then it is clear that the speaker is intending the hearer to infer some extra meaning over and above what is said. Evidence for this is that people have say things like, he said he was happy. Now look at this emphasis on happy. I'm floating the max because it is very much obvious for the listener, and I am giving a direction for the to the listener to get another meaning, not the meaning of happy. The way I said it, it implies something else. Greeks distinguishes what he calls sentence meaning from utterance meaning, and he refers to an utterance meaning indicated through a float as an implicature. We will be discussing implicature in other lecture, types of implicature. So the implicature is what we have been referring to so far is the extra meaning. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. Please subscribe to the channel for more lectures. Thank you so much.